Like, comment, and subscribe.
Our inheritance is turned to strangers, and our houses to aliens. We are orphans and fatherless. Our mothers are as widows. We are drunk in our water for money, and our wood is sold unto us. Our necks are under persecution. We labor and have no rest. We have given our hand to the Maswayan and to the Assyrian to be satisfied with bread. Our fathers have sinned and are not, and we are born their iniquity.
He stole the lollipop. It's just like taking candy from a baby. That's how we look every time we go and vote for oppression. Rocking you to sleep, making you believe in a lie.
You said no. The lie detector determined that was a lie.
All right, dear family, let me go ahead and get into my message that I was going to talk about today. Hopefully you'll come and listen to this pre-recording. All right, so what's going on is that we've been living inside of a existence that's not conducive to us as a nation. We've been living as some strange people, some strangers in all of the nations of the earth. Like we're not native to this planet. Because according to the scripture, Allahayim gave Adam an inheritance in all the four corners of the earth. And whatsoever they named that place, that was the name of that place. Let me go ahead and pull up this information here that I got. This right here is called the Scottsboro Boys. All right. And let's go in and see what we got here. I left the link underneath the video. You could go and check out the links when this is over, or you could go ahead and get them and read along with me. It says right here, the case of the Scottsboro Boys, which lasted more than 80 years, helped to spur the civil rights movement. The perseverance of the Scottsboro Boys and the attorneys and community leaders who supported their case helped to inspire several prominent activists and organizers. To Kill a Mockingbird, the Pulitzer's prize-winning novel by white author Harper Lee, is also loosely based on this case. All right, so let me stop right here. Okay, so what they have right now is something that they got going on saying white fatigue, okay? So what we were not trying to do is erase European people history. What we were trying to do is is uncover our history. And there's been a prevalent thing going on to every time a subject of ours come up, it's always derailed because people say that we're being selfish and we think we all that than a bag of chips. And because of that, we think that we better than everybody. So we don't ever deserve to have anything that belongs to us. Even right now, BET, I was alerted by my sister Eve, ate the fruit of lies. I share her page under this. But Sister Eve, she elaborately put together a video showing how BET Awards was canceled, and they have some kind of Hispanic something awards or whatever coming up now in the place of the BET Awards, and BET was sold to the highest bidder. And so when you say BET, that's Black Entertainment. All right. So if the person that barcoded that BET, Black Entertainment, they barcoded us. So you can see that as somebody taking a hot iron and putting it with an LLC or a corporation. And what they did is when he sold that, people feel like they have claim to always have felt like they had claim to our free labor. They had claim to always make us the lowest. All right. Well, we see scriptures in the Bible about this, but even with that, even the Bible has been propagated against us by being mistranslated, by people mistranslating it with their mouth. But we're gonna go into that, y'all willing, shortly in detail. But so when they put this person was a white person that wrote out this To Kill a Mockingbird, the Pulitzer Prize novel by white author Harper Lee, is also loosely based on this case. So because Arthur Lee Mockingbird, To Kill a Mockingbird, since it was done in the white author Harper Lee, can we say that well, white people did it all? So white people that's doing this enactment of this right here, they European people, they cannot take somebody else's history because they're trying to render support to help so-called black people. So what this white author was doing, Harper Lee, he was not trying to colonize the Scottsboro Boys, but what he was doing he was trying to assist them. So he put out this right here to bring awareness to the situation. It's also loosely based on this case. So it's loosely based on the case. On March 25th, 1931, 9 African-American teenagers, and my granddaddy was born before 1931. Okay, my granddaddy, Ernest Lee Kennedy, was born in 1928, but my great-grandfather was older than him. Okay? On March 25th, 1931, 9 African-American teenagers were accused of raping 2 white women. Okay? Now they put African-American, something that was made popular in the 1980s, a little bit years up after my birthday, 1988. I was born 84. So when I was born, my birth certificate did not say African American. It says Black American. So somebody could just come up and rename you African American. At one time, we weren't even called American. We were just called slave, a boy, a gal, a wench, a buck. Teenagers were accused. At one time, we was not even called teenagers. They were called animals or monkeys or color. or niggas, were accused of raping 2 white women aboard a Southern Railroad freight train in northern Alabama. Haywood Patterson, Ollie Montgomery, Clarence Norris, Willie Robertson, and Wright, Ozzie Powell, Eugene Williams, Charlie Williams, and Roy Wright were searching for work when a racially charged fight broke out between 2 passengers. See, these 2 young boys didn't do this. So when this thing broke out, they didn't even know what was going on because they didn't have nothing to do with it. The fight is said to have started when a young white man stepped on the hand of one of the Scottsboro Boys. The young white man were fighting, forced to exit the train, engaging to conjure a story of how the black men were at fault for the incident. So he started the fight and then said that they had fought for the incident. By the time the train reached Paint Rock, Alabama, the Scottsboro Boys were met with an angry mob and charged with assault. Now this is before immigration of Africans from Africa over to America. All this was going on. Victoria Price and Ruby Bates, 2 white women, were also riding the freight train. And we built the train and we built the tracks with free labor before any immigration. Face charges of vagrancy and illegal sexual activity. In order to avoid these charges, they falsely accused the Scottsboro Boys of rape. So when somebody make up a lie about you in their head, you don't know nothing about it until they lie on you, and then now you know that this person telling a lie. A lie for a lot of people to act like these things is not hurtful or that it's not a hurtful effect on the people. A lie is something that is not true, but it's told. Let me go over here to Psalms 83. Because when we see how BET is operating, let's look at this. A song of Psalms of Asaph. Keep not you silent, O Elohim. Hold not thou Karash, and be not still, O Elohim. For lo, thine enemies make a harmona, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They are taking crafty counsel against your people and consulted against your hidden ones. They have said, come and let us hide them off from being a nation. So they want to hide us off from being a nation, hide our identity. That the identity, that's what name means. Sham means identity. That the identity of Yasharal may be no more in remembrance. When Hamashiach was walking on the earth, Yasharal remembered who they were. When Masha was walking up, Moses and Aharon and Aaron was walking on the earth, Yasharal knew who they were. In all of the captivities, Yasharal knew who they were. So this prophecy right here is for a time when Yasharal identity would be hidden, and it would be done by people who are consulted together and who were confederate together against this nation. That the identity of Yasharal may be no more in remembrance. See? That the identity of Yasharal may be no more in remembrance. Not no more in existence, but no more in remembrance. So it had to do with causing them to forget, because in order for you to forget something, in order for your nation to have amnesia of their identity, then they have to have a name. And that name has to be wiped away from them. And according to the prophet Asaph, he said that the sham of Yasharal may be no more in remembrance. Why? for they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against you. This right here is not no what they call it, conspiracy theory. This right here is proven with prophecy, and it's also proven with history that people like to hide and cover up and change. Confederate, because they are confederate against your memory. They want you to forget your name. You done had how many names since we've been over here? Bed bug, bed winch, monkey, terrorist organization, cult organization, apes. For they are consulted together, not by themselves, clicked off on some cave over here and mysteriously all come together and do the same thing. No, they consulted together. They had confederate, they had meetings. You know how they have meetings? And they consulted together with one consent, with one goal, just like what they said about Sha'awal. Our ancestors said that we vow that we're gonna take Sha'awal out and somebody had to let Sha'awal down through the wall. Paul, they'd have let him down through the wall because these people had made an oath that they were gonna take the apostle Sha'awal out. They consulted together and they set up a meeting and they said, we're gonna take out the apostle Sha'awal. People came together. It was confederate inside of the Nicolaitan meetings. There was confederate inside of the Portuguese meetings. There was confederate inside of the Spanish meetings. There was confederate inside of the England, the British, all the meetings, so that they may wipe away your identity. They all agreed that you are black. They all agreed at one time that you are to be a slave and the property of the North. The tabernacles of Adawam, and the Yashmalites and Moab and the Hagarenes, Gabal and Ammon and Amalek and the Philistines and the inhabitants of Tyre, Ashur also are joined with them. They are hoping the children of Lot, Selah. So when they say Africans sold Africans into slavery, no, let's look at this thing. Slave catchers in the Edomite tribe, slave catchers in the Yashmalite tribes. Yashmal has an ancient history of being a slave catcher and a modern day history. Moab, Africans sold Africans, there you go. Adam, Yashmalites, Moab, Hagarenes, Gabal, Ammon, Amalek, the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. Ashur also is joined with them. They are hoping the children of Lot, Selah, even some of your brothers and sisters according to your blood went against you, because Lot's ancestors are Shemitic people. They are Shemitic. They are Afro-Asiatic people. Do unto them as unto the Midianites, as unto Sisera, as unto Jabin at the brook of Kizon, which perish at Endor. They are become as doo-doo unto the earth. Make their nobles like Oreb and like Zeb, yea, all the princes of Zebah and Zamunah, who said, let us take to ourselves, not let us set it up in 1940. Let us take to ourselves. Let us set up this thing for Israel. No, they said, let us take to ourselves the houses of Alahayim in possession. Yasharal, both houses were taken as the possession, and also their land. When you take away the person, and you take the land, possession. Oh my Alahayim, make them like a wheel. And when we go down here, he say that, and look at what they put here. They even covered over his name. It's closer, but look, they say Jehovah. And our bar, there's no Je, there's no E, there's no O, there's no Va. That is modern day stuff. It is Yah, Ha, Wa. All right. Now let us go to Luke chapter 21. All right. And this is Hamashiach prophesying about the destruction of the temple and the scattering of the house of the southern tribe into the four corners of the earth as captives. And when you're a captive, they make you their slave. All right. And this is his prophecy of after the temple is destroyed. That's after he dead, buried, and resurrected and ascended to his Father. There's furthermore things that has to happen. There has to be a mass capturing of Yasharal as property and for it to be dispersed into the four corners of the earth. So watch this in verse 16. And you shall be betrayed both by parents and brethren and kinfolk and friends, and some of you shall they cause to be put to death, and you shall be hated of all men for my identity's sake. People hate you every time you say who Hamashiach is. Even back then when they tried to force us to worship that idol that they gave us, the image of Caesarea Borgia that's recorded in history. And you shall be hated of all men for my name's sake. Man means from. But when you say Adam, you shall be hated of all Adam for my name, for my identity's sake. Your name on your ID shows who you are, sake. But there shall not be an hair of your head perish. So he's not going to destroy you. He's going to punish us in just manner like the prophet said, because the prophets must be fulfilled. He said, I'm not come to do away with them. And your patience possess you your souls. And when you say, when you shall see Yarashalayim compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is not. So that was spoken of by Daniel the prophet. There had to come the offerings and the stuff in the temple had to cease. All right, the oblations and the offerings in the temple had to cease after Messiah was cut off and resurrected 3 days. Then he said the oblations and the sacrifices of the temple must cease. And then he said, in Daniel that Israel would be dispersed into the four corners of the earth as slaves. And he said, in the last day, you shall understand this. He said, in the last day, the veil was going to come from off your eyes in the very book. That is the desolation of desolation that's spoken of by Daniel the prophet, how the temple was made a desolation unto us, and that we ourselves have become a desolation. Then let them which are in Wydah flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out. When you go into the mountains, our brother from Damona showed us how the mountains, when you go to the mountains, you go to Ethiopia. Ethiopia back in the day, in slavery times, that's what they called the whole continent, Ethiopia. Okay? So when they say Ethiopia, Israel fled into the mountains and they established a kingdom that they call Wydah. All right? And that caused Wydah. And it went all the way from the east side all the way to the west side of Africa. So all the way from Soyodan all the way over to what is modern day Nigeria. All right? Even there was a Judean establishment, a Yehowadah establishment on Sao Tome, St. Thomas, that's right beside West Africa. And that right there was set up by the Portuguese king. All right? And he said when he expelled all those Judeans over there, and he said they are always black. All right? And then he said, and then let them which are Yehowadah flee to the mountains. Where do you flee? If the nations of the north is coming down according to the prophets, why would you flee up to the 7 mountains? No, they flee to the mountains. They flee to the Sahara like the prophets said. Yahushua is not no liar. And let them which are in the midst of it depart out. So they don't stay in there. They said, let them which are in the midst thereof depart out. And let not them that are in the countries enter therein too. So if you in the countries, you know where the country's at, right? On the continent. If you over down that, don't come back. All right? Wherever you at, do not go back into Jerusalem. Why? Thereunto. For these be the days of vengeance. That's when the temple was up. That all things which are written may be fulfilled. Yahushua said, see ye not, because he was talking about that temple that was built. See you not these marvelous things, because they boasted about the stones, how beautiful and how marvelous they look. He said, not one stone shall be left upon another that shall not be thrown down. And here he's showing you, take you back again to that time what he spoke about before the stones get thrown down. For these be the days of vengeance. Because see, Yasharal crucified their Messiah. For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. But woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. For there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people. And they shall fall by the edge of war. See, when they say the edge of the sword in the scripture, that means that that's going to come a war. So these Negroes or these Afro-Asiatic people had to fight. And I'm going to show you why I know they the Afro-Asiatic people in a few minutes. So the Israelites got in the war with the nations of the north, and the nations of the north, that land mass, in the scripture, what they call nations of the north, it calls the land of Japheth, and what we call today Europe. All right. So the Afro-Asiatic people fought just like the indigenous people fought in America. So it say right here, and they shall fall by the edge of the sword. So Israel is going to lose this war. They're not going to win it. And they shall be led away captive into all nations. That's why when we was all dispersed into every nation as captives, when you're a captive, that means you're a war captive. I showed you, there's a video that I did. I'll post it on my community tab when I'm done, of the kingdom of Wydah. All right, so that you could get more detail about that. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles is fulfilled. All right, and there shall be signs in the sun, and after we disperse, and all things that is written of us be fulfilled, that we be trodden down of the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. And there shall be signs in the sun, and signs in the moon, and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations, with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring, men's hearts failing them for fear, and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth. For the powers of Shemayim shall be shaken. And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in the cloud. Did we see the Son of Man coming in the cloud? That's when Hamashiach gonna bring us back. Look, and power and great glory. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draws nigh. Redemption means that you need to be redeemed. That's because you have been spoiled as a people, and you are the property of everybody else. And the scripture says in the book of Obadiah that your land was divided by the nations of the north. And he spake to them a parable, behold the fig tree and all the trees. See, you are the fig tree. In order for you to know the signs, you got to look at the fig tree. That's why he said, behold the fig tree. Look at the fig tree and all the trees. When they now shoot forth, when the nation of Yasharal come to themselves in the lands of their captivity, as prophesied by the prophets that they would do, and then he said that the Messiah gonna come. You see and know of your own selves that summer is now and nigh at hand. So likewise, when you see, because who is the fig tree? Yasharal. So likewise, when you see these things come to pass, know that the kingdom of Allahim is at hand. So this is the reason why they nab, stabbing, and grabbing and trying to erase your identity. This is to show you that your mental perplexity It's so that it won't be as worse on you, seeing how people treat you as if you have no history, even though they know that hip hop and all this other stuff. Verily I say unto you, truly I say, this is your Messiah. This generation shall not pass away till all be fulfilled. So he didn't say that this right here could be omitted. He said this generation shall not pass away until all be fulfilled. So the generation right here that he's speaking about, which is your generation, shall not pass away till all be fulfilled. So we're going to see how Mashiach come. The one that our ancestors pierced, that we pierced, we're going to see him, and all the nations of the earth will mourn like our very own child was killed. Shamayam wa Arat shall pass away, but my words shall not pass away. Heaven and earth gonna pass away, but Yahushua word is never gonna pass away. These things will be fulfilled. And guess what? We got on them ships, just as sure as he's Hamashiach. We were put on ships and dispersed into every nation of the earth as captives, and we were made abid. We were sold, and we were not redeemed. That's what that word, we were not bought. The word for not bought means not redeemed. And then verily, and if that didn't happen, then wise people reading the Bible, because Hamashiach prophesied that Yahshua would go into captivity. But according to modern day scholars, they say that that was Ham on the slave ship. But the Bible say that Israel would be the one dispersed on slave ships. But modern day scholars say that Hamites will be on the slave ship, or monkeys will be on the slave ship. The byword will be on the slave ship. All right. And that's all I want to say today. I'm about to get off of here. I pray that the Wi-Fi get fixed so that I'll be able to come on here and speak to y'all more on the specific topic that I want to talk about. But since it didn't work and I want to talk with y'all about it live, I just decided to go ahead and talk about the reason why we going through this, instead of us sitting down talking about what's going on and having a conversation about it. So I want to say shalom, and I hope you enjoy your day. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.